I understand.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day. We're grateful for this time that we're able to come together as a team and as a group to study the lesson material for this week. We're grateful for the examples that our instructors put together for us and for the studies that we have to learn from and strengthen our knowledge and deepen our understanding of what it takes to be a great leader. We pray for thy spirit to be with us, that we will learn and study and take a lot away from this, and that we will enjoy each other's company. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
I'm going to share scripture. It's Moroni,
might call anytime, so we might have to drop the call.
chapter 10, verse 5. It says, and by the power of the Holy Ghost, you might know the truth of all things. And I believe this is true. If we want to learn how to be leaders, then I know that if we work along with the Holy Ghost, then we'll be guided. We'll receive the guidance that we need to do that. And I share that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right. So what do you guys think of Yieldex? I thought it was a pretty cool study, actually.
Yeah, it was just to see how I think it has to do with management and how decisions are critical, like important decisions like this, in a time when you have to decide, do you sell it or you keep going it?
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting.
I thought it was pretty unique because on one hand, I totally get where Doug is coming from. He wants to, he wants to make money and provide for his family and do all that kind of stuff. But then at the same time, he wants to grow this business. And so the issue that I have with all this is it doesn't sound like the guy's destitute or needing money. Like I think they even said he was going to take a salary of $110,000. I mean, this isn't a guy who's strapped for cash and able to put money on the table for his family. I think he absolutely should not sell, and he should bring on a CEO that has the business mindset and can take it to new highs, and then he can make way more money if he just sticks it out a little bit longer.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he doesn't need to sell the company, and he's very successful. This is what I feel. He's very successful, and he has the chance to sell that company. But at the same time, like to get the cash, and that will like satisfy the needs for the family, right? Like security. The wife is like, oh, he's gonna ask the wife, oh, should I sell it or not? So
Right.
I feel like by doing that, then as the case states, he knows what the wife is gonna say. But at the same time, I feel like it's more like a personal, to feel more like he's growing with it, and that's why I don't know. If I was him, that's how I would feel like. I want to grow this company. I want to see how I can take this company,
Yeah.
like, on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think he definitely should.
I can upgrade all of my stuff for the future.
Just going along with what you guys had said, bringing in a CEO with that business mindset that can really, help this company and help it keep going and growing, and and I just think he'd be better off
I can make one of them stop.
not to sell. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I think it makes a lot more sense to not sell it. I mean, the only benefit I saw in selling it was just to get out quick. I mean, he says
Right.
he doesn't really see himself as a businessman, But at the same time, it seems like he wants to continue to work with the product. So I think financially and just to enable him to continue to work with the product, I think it would make more sense to not sell. But on the other hand, if he did sell, it's a $4 million. So he comes out with a substantial amount of money.
Right.
Easy.
Yeah, the issue that I have with it, and it's probably because I'm a little jaded with all the case studies that we've done this semester. It just seems like if they stick it out a little bit more, a little bit longer, they can make that much more money, you know? And so it's easy from our shoes to look at this and say, no, 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 no. Don't sell, hire a CEO, take it to the next level. But you're right. I mean, he's got $4 million in hand ready to go. And that's $4 million, $2 million of it cash, $2 million of it sounded like in preferred stock, right? At the other
Would that
with
count?
that other company.
Would
So,
that count with the angel investors too? Like paying
right.
them?
So that could potentially be more money down the road too. So I mean, I totally get, the appeal. The funny thing, or what just kind of stuck out to me when he was debating all of it, is, again, I don't think he's strapped for cash. He's making $110,000 on salary. That's a good living in Boulder, Colorado, even where I live. So he's still doing pretty good. And this is in 2003 or 2004 or whatever it was. But he's got that going. And then what stood out to me though was for lack of a better term, or a lack of a better way of putting it, was just the enticements of the appeal. And it just kind of got to me like how Satan kind of gets to us, that he'll come at you with something that looks really fresh and nice and pretty, and that's what you want. But if you show a little patience, it's going to pay off for you in the end. And so he's in this position right now where I feel like the buddy that from Turn, or whatever the place is called, from Turn, that came to him, he knew what he wanted. And so he's kind of playing that against his friend by saying, dude, I've got cash. Come and get the cash. Rather than, you're making good money at $110,000 a year. Stick it out. Build this business to what you think it really can be. It's something that nobody's been able to crack for 20 years, I think is what it was saying, right? So he's got a unique product that he could take to whole new highs, way beyond $4 million. And I just think he'd be very short-sighted to take the cash and go.
Let me just start by saying I agree with you. I think all very solid points. But just to kind of play the devil's advocate here, I think taking the cash is obviously easier, but the other thing that I guess worries me a little is he feels all this pressure from investors, which I don't think is a good reason to not take the cash, is from pressure from investors. I don't think you should be. I think you need to separate yourself from that and say, I know what they want to do, but I have to think about what's best for me. Because, I mean, all they're doing is thinking about what's best for them. I mean, they're not trying. And I think it would probably be better for him in the long run. But again, I mean, and he mentions that his wife probably doesn't want him to stay with the company either. She would take the, say, $4 million.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I think it would be better for everybody to stick it out. But just to kind of play the devil's advocate there, there's just a couple points that you have to consider.
Yeah. Now, obviously, he's putting the pros and cons together with her, so it's a decision that they're definitely going to be making together. He's not doing it on his own for sure. And that's, the appeal of the wife is going to probably play the strongest in his ear. And I'm with you. The part of the investors is kind of, it's dangerous territory. If you listen to them too much, you're going to get run over. And like you said, they're going to look out for themselves. You don't know what their real intentions are. They aren't always going to be looking out for you. They put money into the business. They want to make sure that they get that money back. And if that means sacrificing you, investors will probably do it. So, yeah, I'm with you. He's got to take care of himself for sure.
They'll buy you out.
Yeah, they'll buy you out, kick you out. No, it's a really good point.
Yeah, at the same time, like, I don't feel like at this point, I don't feel like company is ready to be sold. I mean, there is potential to grow. This is super new, super fresh, and why would you sell it if you know that it's gonna expand? I mean, you're gonna get the cash um, right away, and then you'll take care of yourself. But then there's this uncertainty, like, what if, right? Like, as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, there is like, what if I can grow this more? What if I can like explode it and then like create more value with this idea that I have? Because I feel like this idea is very innovative. Um, he just needs to put everything like together and just make it work. So it's not worth it to sell it right now at this point, just because of the potential it has to grow.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and that even plays both ways, right? The whole bird in the hand, two in the bush type of deal. He's got $4 million in hand. There's nothing that guarantees that his money or that he's going to be making a ton of money in this next venture. What if somebody next week came out with a product and they hit the market first and boom, he's now behind the game. And then he could potentially lose value. So, I mean, there's definitely that playing to it, just like you're saying too, Rodrigo, that yeah, if he shows the patience, it could pay off, but it also works the other way that he's got cold hard cash that he could just walk away with. Yeah.
True.
All right. Well, it sounds like we all agree that he should hire a CEO and not, sell. And it sounds like we came up with options there for why he would be justified in selling, looking out for his family, looking out for himself, and taking a guaranteed offer and getting out of the business, like you guys are saying too. His wife wants him out. So
Yeah. Although with the CEO, I'm not like so sure. I mean, with the terms that he wants, right? He wants 50-50.
yeah,
I don't know how would I feel about that, because I mean, up to this point, he has the knowledge, he has the business acumen, as he says, and everything, but I don't feel like he's entitled to that, right? To that 50%. So because it takes him hard work, it's his family business kind of.
yeah,
And so it doesn't make sense to me, like, for him to be claiming 50% and be co-founder of the company.
yeah, yep. All right, cool. Any other thoughts there? If not, we'll just jump to question number 6. Yeah, nobody agrees with selling, so yeah, so we'll jump to number 6. So given all that, how much money will Doug receive? And since half the buyout offer is in cash, you need to treat it as cash sale and give the investors 2 times their investment in cash. So, I mean, he's got all that to pay back too. I think he borrowed $300,000, and if each of them are getting double their cash, there's $600,000 right there.
Yeah.
So he's already down to $1.5 million, just below. Any thoughts around that? What his take home is?
Yeah.
Then?
So,
That's only
so
part
I
of
guess
it,
you already
yeah.
said. So from the cash portion of it, he's going to be losing 600,000. So that puts him at 1.4 million. And then
Right.
preferred stock, they each get 25% of the 2 million. So 25% of 2 million is
$500,000
for 3 people. So there goes another 1.5 million, right? Did I do all that math right?
Too much sweet.
So I guess he walks away with
They gave me,
2.4 million
more breads.
with
Or even fruits, probably I'll eat. Well, it's shitty crap.
Yeah.
or no,
honestly,
no, not 2.4,
not
1.9.
do it ourselves. We have
Right?
a company that we
Yeah. Well, the 500,000 and the 1.4. So yeah, 1.9.
0.9 with most of it being in cash, which is still a solid offer. And then, I mean, who knows if his product still explodes and it's under Turner, that stock can increase in value. But yeah, I guess he walks. I guess to answer the question is, it looks like 1.9.
Yeah. Is it so with the preferred stock it being 2 million, he gives investors 25% of the proceeds from the preferred shares. So will they get 1.5 or will they get 500,000? Or is that where you're saying 500,000 and then each of them gets
Oh
500,000?
yeah, so maybe it is only 25% for the full amount.
So he would get 2.9 basically is what he'd walk away with
Yeah,
if he were to liquidate everything.
right. Yep.
Okay.
It's awful.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I was reading that right too. I was like, oh
Oh, no,
dang.
well, maybe I'm gonna go look at the case study again because I think it talks about it in the case study. I can't remember exactly what it says.
Did it? Well, it definitely said that 3 put in 100,000 each.
It's 20%, right? On the million.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts with what his take home is? Doug's payout is whatever is left after the paying the back his investors both the cash and stock. Okay. So let's move on now to Shields. We all agreed that he should bring Shields on.
So
What does Shields deserve?
he deserves to lead the company, but with a more flexible rate from his part because he wants everything done.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know how much his other company is paying him. And I think it mentioned that he wouldn't leave the company if those terms don't come true at 50-50. And he has, it seems like he has the experience, he has the knowledge to lead, which Cosman doesn't have, right? And he knows people, he's very connected. So I definitely go like for him to be the CEO, but we'll have to negotiate on how much the company will take.
Yeah.
Maybe 60-40 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
I mean,
think,
I know
Jordan?
he says
Oh.
that he wouldn't do it for less than 50% just because it wouldn't make financial sense for him to take a much higher paying salary or to leave a higher paying salary and go somewhere that's so uncertain. Whether or not it's fair, I don't know though. That's kind of hard. I mean, I think I would have a hard time giving up half of the ownership in a company for really nothing up front, you know. It's almost like a signing bonus for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, there's no guarantees that Shields is going to take the business to the new level or to the next level. Granted, he's got the connections. They both hit it off really well. He's got the experience in the industry and the connections in the venture capitalist world, just in the marketing aspect of it all. But there's still no guarantee that he's going to perform. I mean, I look at it and think of Albert Pujols. I don't know if you guys follow baseball, but Albert Pujols was the best in the game 10 years ago for the St. Louis Cardinals. And then he goes out to the Angels, who paid him like $300 million, and he's been an entire flop for the Angels. But he got that money. And in baseball, your money's guaranteed. And so he's getting that money right now for really subpar production for what he was paid for. And that's basically what they'd be doing for Shields. I mean, on one hand, I am all for giving Shields 50% because while it's great to have an idea, knowing how to market that idea and have that idea make money is a whole nother ball game, and that takes a whole different level of expertise. They're two very different levels of expertise in that. And what's great is Doug acknowledges that it's not a strength of his and that he would prefer to just be the technical side of things. So I think that that's great that he understands his limits, but I do feel that in a real world scenario, I would think 50-50 would be totally justified. It's just that unknown factor of, is Shields going to make it a multi-million dollar, multi-$100 million business, and turn it into something that can be huge? That's the unknown factor, and that's what makes it hard for me to just go straight off the bat. Somebody who doesn't have a CEO experience, technically, and giving him free reign to just run the business. That's the scary part, but I do feel that in a lot of ways the 50% is justified, just because, it's one thing to make a product. It's a whole nother ballgame to sell that product. And I feel like that's what Shields would bring to the group, and why I think he's justified in pushing for it.
Yeah, at the same time, like, he just have 2 million right now, right? If they go 50-50, he has 2 million, 2 million. At the same time, like, there's this potential for this company to grow. If, like, in the long run, he's gonna still make lots of money. And that's the thing. Whether he deserves that 50% or he doesn't, it doesn't matter. What matters is, like, if the company has the potential to grow, like, let's say by 75%, right? Why not having him, like, be the CEO with a 50% split? So it makes sense to me, like, to not let him take that 50%. It doesn't make sense, like, after knowing what the company can do with that much potential that it has.
Sure.
No, I think you have to really trust him to give him the 50. But if you do take a look at his resume, I think he has a couple of things going for him. One is he knows the industry really well.
Right.
Two is, it sounds like he has looked into this problem before. He talks about, how he says he didn't even believe that this guy came up with a solution.
Right.
So it sounds like he's passionate about it, so it's not just he has more than just financial interest. He has genuine interest in the product. He has that going for him too. So I think if you can trust him, I think, like, you can give somebody else all that business control and kind of sit back and do the technical and just let him run it, and just have faith that he can take it to the next level.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as like Shark Tank, right? I mean, I get that they're more of the venture capitalist view of things, but here's a guy who has tons of industry experience, and the biggest thing that he's going to be able to provide for this group or for this company is his networking. Is he's got all these people that he could say right off the bat. I'm looking at, to your point, I'm looking at his resume right now, everything he did with Net Gravity, and then all these boards that he's been a part of. He'll have the connections that can take this to the new level. So the technology's there because of Doug. But if Doug doesn't have the connections, Doug would just end up selling out for $4 million like he potentially could. Whereas Tom Shields will get him in front of all the right people, potential bidding war, potential, just chance for just blowing this thing up. And none of that would be possible without Shields. And so it's kind of hard to go, one side or the other. Particularly, I could see both sides, but the advantage you get from Shields, just like you're saying, Scott, is he's got just a wealth of knowledge. He may not have ever been a CEO, but he's got this wealth of knowledge and networking that's what you need, and can get you places. So it kind of plays into the next question then, which the next question is, can Doug use the turn offer to his advantage if he rejects it? I feel like he could leverage. He could use that as leverage with Shields and say, hey, I've got to have more equity, or else I'll just sell for the $4 million and walk out now, and you guys get nothing. So yeah, he probably could just say, hey, 60-40, 75-25, whatever. It's kind of the ball's in his court, but I don't think Shields is in a
Well,
position where he's
I
hurting for
hadn't thought
money.
about this until now, but he could actually have Shields pay him for his shares.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I'm guessing Shields has the money. You know, just based on the sell, he was a CTO for Net Gravity and it sold for $500 million. He probably has the $4 million. He could just buy him outright and say, hey, you want $4 million, here's $4 million. And I'll walk away and I'll take the business. You walk away, here's your money. And yeah, you could take his connections.
I mean, even
That's
if
a
he
really good
sold half the shares at, half the price that Turner would be paying him at, at least he gets something out of these shares instead of just giving them to
Yeah.
Shields. To Shields, it would be hugely discounted stock, and to him, it would just be he would actually be making money off of the stock he has.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Jordan, Rodrigo, any other thoughts there?
I like the idea of buying him out. But I would just stay like with 50-50 for now. But those are options too. As for if he wants to retain power in the company, but I don't think that's his goal right now. Maybe like expand the business and just to see where it can go with the connections that Shields has.
Yeah, I agree. I think, just staying with the 50-50 and, being able to, like we were saying, use that leverage maybe against or to his advantage. And yeah, I mean, I just think he can definitely use what he has to his advantage with that offer.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know if we were supposed to read this beforehand, but it sounds like we're supposed to click and read it together. The B case to kind of tell the next step. So we could either, do we want to just break it up into paragraphs and read it, or I guess it's only 4 total paragraphs, so we could just do that.
Yeah, that's good.
Looks like, yeah, we probably are supposed to read it together on this call. All right, I'll get it kicked off. Yieldex B. It was December 2007, and Yieldex CEO Tom Shields was driving to the company. Oh, CEO Tom Shields. All right. Was driving to the company's Boulder, Colorado office to meet with his co-founder, Doug Kosman. Since becoming the CEO of Yieldex in October 2017, Shields commuted from the Bay Area to meet with Kosman and the engineering team on a weekly basis. Kosman almost sold Yieldex for $4 million in September of 2007, but after an agonizing internal debate, he decided to forego the quick exit and hire Shields to help him pursue additional financing and grow the fledgling company. Shields and Kosman had been negotiating an equity split when the unexpected offer came in, and they were close to an agreement in which Shields hoped to receive 50% of the pre-Series A common shares. Shields had pressed Kosman to turn down the offer, but that came with the price to Shields. He ultimately agreed to take 40% of the common, while Kosman held on to the remaining 60%. Okay. Kosman then sold 20% of his common stock back to the company to take out some cash. There you go. Both Shields and Kosman were diluted in the Series A round that closed several days after Shields joined the company. Sequel Venture Partners led the round with a $2 million investment, and they were joined by first-round capital, $500,000, and angel investors that converted their seed into Series A shares and invested additional money. The pre-money valuation at Series A was $4.9 million. Anybody want to read the second paragraph?
I'll do it.
Go for it.
When Shields joined as CEO, Cosman became the company's chief technology officer, reporting to Shields. Cosman explained, I was now interested in leading a team of engineers on a day-to-day basis, but I wanted to be the technical leader of the company. Cosman had converted the 3 contractors to a full-time employment and hired 2 more in the last few months. And both he and Shields thought they needed to be led by an experienced vice president of engineering. Shields met with several candidates for the VP position during November, and he quickly realized that he and Cosman had different perspectives on, on the qualifications of the ideal candidate. Cosman preferred someone with a deep technical expertise in internet advertising software, who would immediately understand how this technology related to systems already in use in the industry. In fact, he hoped to promote one of the Yieldex employees who had been working with Cosmos on the Yieldex solution over the last year and had previously been a team lead. Shields, however, preferred deep management experience of software development projects in small companies. He was comfortable hiring someone who had not worked in internet advertising as long as the individual had a track record of managing high productivity startup teams to achieve aggressive development milestones.
Jordan, Scott, one of you guys want to take the next? Go for it.
Shields knew that the issue would come to a head this week. He had recently met a Boulder-based candidate, John Barr, who came highly recommended from sequel partner Tom Washing. Barr had a strong track record with multiple successful startups. He had been the CTO and at his last 2 companies, but he was willing to join Yieldex as a VPE, also reporting to Shields. Shields believed Barr was a good fit and was ready to hire him, but Cosman was troubled by Barr's unfamiliarity with several of the key components of the Yieldex solution. He wondered how Barr could manage a software platform that he didn't fully understand. He was also concerned that Barr seemed to be questioning the skills and output of some of the employees that he had hired.
Scott, you want to take that last one?
Yep, I got it. As Shields pulled up to the Yieldex office, he thought about the implications of hiring Barr against Cosman's wishes. He was comforted by Washing's support of Barr, as he knew that Cosman respected Washing's perspective. Nevertheless, he wondered how Cosman and Barr would interact as the 2 leaders of the Boulder office, and also how it would work when the 5 engineers that Cosman had hired began to report to Barr. Shields knew that this group would have to work closely together in Boulder while he jump-started the sales and marketing efforts of the company out of the Bay Area. Cosman had architected the Yieldex software, and Barr would need his support to manage the team effectively. Shields respected Cosman's desire to keep looking at other candidates, but he needed to fill this position so he could refocus his efforts, and he was impressed with Barr's credentials.
All right. So we need to consider how this decision of hire. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Should they hire Tom Barr? Or I'm sorry, should Tom hire Barr? So should Shields hire Barr? Sorry. Who thinks he should? I think he should. Based on what I understood of that, and this isn't a knock entirely on Cosman, but I don't because he's already acknowledged his own faults of not understanding the business and the management side of things as much, and because the guys like Shields, Washing, and even Barr have this deep wealth of knowledge and experience in the industry, maybe not particularly with this type of product, but in the industry. I feel like he needs to give their experience and their knowledge a little more credence than what maybe he is. And so I would think if Cosman is truly out of the picture and allowing Shields to be the CEO, then I would say Shields should hire Barr and bring him on. It sounds like he's got what they need, and he's there in Boulder, and I think it would be a good fit.
You gotta trust the CEO.
For the 11th June Monday.
I'm a little bit torn on that. On the one hand, I think he sounds like he'd probably be the best fit for it, but you have to think about the ramifications if you hire against Cosman's wishes.
Right.
I think best case scenario, you talk to him, and say, this is what I want to do. But if you can't agree on it, I don't know. I guess you have to, because you are the CEO, and you can't. And you got to play the role to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's mentioned that he's like an expert in the industry, and then what will Cosmo be doing? He's a CTO, right? But he doesn't have the knowledge, and then Bar will come with all this expertise in the industry. Now, how is that gonna be divided in terms of responsibilities?
Are they gonna be like slow?
Maybe someone will feel like overpowered by the other one, knowing that he still be the CEO, like the owner, but still Bar without the knowledge. I don't know. I just don't see like. I like that thing when they talk about it before the hiring. Like, okay, this is what he's gonna be doing, and this is what I'm gonna be in charge of. Because I feel like if he's lacking on the knowledge, then there's gonna be some discrepancies between those two. Because one has the knowledge, but one doesn't. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Gordon, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like Scott. I mean, I'm kind of torn. I mean, I think, he is the best fit for the job. But then again, do you go away from Cosman's wishes? I mean, I guess not his wishes, but his advice or whatever. I mean, if you do that, does it create a rift between those two, or does it create animosity between those two? Or I mean, but I agree. Maybe just sit down with him and maybe just explain. This is what we got. Maybe try to get on the same page with each other. Because I think this guy is probably the best for the job, and like you said, he's already in Boulder, so.
Can we get it knocked out?
Yeah, what do you think, Scott? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you already shared, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think y'all bring up good points, and if we look at 10, the company culture, I think is what's probably most impacted right now. He has to talk to Cosman, and at the very least explain to Cosman, as the CEO, this is the direction I feel that we need to go, and if I'm managing the business, these are the types of decisions you need to allow me to make. Decisions that are based on my experience, decisions that are based on not only just his experience, but also the investors. The investors wanted Shields. The investors were only willing to go in if Shields was the CEO to begin with. And so Cosman has to be able to respect that at some point and say, hey, you were brought in for a reason, And while I may not agree exactly with the approach, you know, there's a reason why you're where you're at. Now that could have huge issues on company culture if that conversation isn't taking place and he just hires him against Cosman, just totally blindside Cosman by doing that. I think it's something that they do need to hash out, but at the same time, the company and that could save or kill the company culture depending on how that conversation goes, or if it isn't held at all. So that's the issue that they have at hand with that.
Yeah, I think it comes down to talking about it first, just like respecting each other's space, right? Because hiring a new one without the consent of the other, then that can have like on the company culture, like has some repercussions, and I don't know. It will just be difficult to work along with them, like as a team.
Yeah.
I see like more like going in their own silos and doing their own thing, which is not gonna benefit the company.
Well, and what could be scaring Cosman more than anything else is the fact that Washing is on the side of the investors, is in Shield's corner, and Washing also wants Barr. And so it
Yeah,
could be concerning to Cosman to feel like, now I'm the outsider. This was my
yeah,
business, and now I'm the smallest voice in this entire business. And so that could be a
exactly.
fear that he has, and that could carry him long term, and it could be something that ultimately makes him want to sell and leave too.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, on that note, we should just hop right on over to the next one, because that follows right along
Yeah.
those lines.
Oh, I didn't even see that there was a third. Dang.
It's short.
I can read this. I can read this short. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
It just says 6 months later, email from John Barr, VP. Tom, Doug continues to be disruptive. His salary is $170K. He holds the title CTO, which I should have. His team wasn't functional and has been replaced. At the board meeting today, do the right things for the company.
Whoa.
That is all.
Wow.
The right thing is fire him.
For Fire Doug, I don't know. It's hard because really all this is like a memo. So
Yeah,
we
we don't
don't
have
really
much
know
context.
what's going on. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Barr that hasn't been working out at all, and he's just been upset that he's not CTO this whole time he's been with the company, and that's been a big block for him.
Yeah, I don't like that line. I don't like that he said that.
Yeah, I mean, he says I should have that job. Like, I don't know. Maybe he should. Maybe he shouldn't. But it
Yeah.
sounds like he's, taking it personally that that's not his spot.
Yeah.
Like he's complaining, yeah, as you guys said, like he doesn't have that job title. Then why is he still there? His team is not performing as it should. I should be the one doing the job, not him.
But on the flip side, if what he's saying is true and Doug is really holding the company down, I don't know. Should Tom fire him?
I think you brought up probably the best point earlier, Scott, when you said that he should just sell everything to Shields and those guys before he even went into it. Looking at that, I would think, yeah, that maybe that's an option. Maybe now he just says, that he's going to, instead of fire him, give him just a very lucrative buyout. And the part of Barr's email that I don't like is just that part about him. That's the title I should have. To me, you're not talking facts when you bring stuff like that into it, and that's what bothers me when making business decisions based off of emotions and not based off of facts. Nobody forced Barr to join them. Barr joined them under the title that he has at the salary that he has, and if he doesn't like that, he's got nobody else to blame. So he shouldn't be throwing around stuff like I should have this title.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
yeah, so I that really bothers me seeing something like that. But at the same time, what's interesting is you got to look at Barr and Shields, and then the investors, and say, hey, look, now we're all invested. This is now all of our livelihoods. This is no longer just Doug's property. We all are a part of this now, and as such, I think that there's a reason to need to look out for that. And so I would say if it's not fire him, which I don't know that I would want to go that far. If it's not that, I would probably say, hey, can we buy you out? Can we buy you out? Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're satisfied with the direction that we're going, and you've lost a lot of control, but kind of rightfully so. You know, he doesn't have the business expertise. He has the knowledge, and I think that the business could go on without him, knowing that they have basically the intellect at this point. So, I don't know. I don't know that you would fire him, but I do feel like some sort of discussion about the future has to take place now, in the sense that it's, hey, can we buy you out, or what's really going on, and how can we address this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was well said.
I was just looking into who bought the company Yieldex, and it was purchased by Nexus at Nexus. It was purchased for $100 million.
Oh wow,
Cash and stocks.
wow. He passed away July 14th of last year.
Huh.
Oh, Charles Douglas. Well, maybe it's not him. I don't know. Crazy. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, just looking at it, I mean, I kind of agree with what you were saying. I mean, I just think that, at this time, I think that's the kind of the discussion that needs to be taking place. Sit him down and just say, let's maybe talk here about a buyout and see if we can't buy you out. And I mean, just like you were saying, I don't think he likes the way that maybe the company's going, and I think the company can definitely function without him. And so I just think that that's the best option, because if you keep going down the road that they're going, I mean, there's definitely going to be a lot more, I think, trouble going on between old John and Doug.
Yeah.
I don't like this third part. I feel like we don't have very much information. It makes it really hard to make a decision. Because, on the flip side, maybe it is Barr that is, just upset about things and
Being a whiner.
bringing all the emotion into it. Yeah, maybe it's Barr you need to get rid of. He just couldn't handle not being the CTO. Maybe it is Doug.
That's why it was critical to discuss that before hiring him.
Yeah.
So that they don't have this kind of situations. Because I don't know what position Shield will take right now, knowing that Barr is complaining about, I don't know,
So maybe Shield made the wrong decision on that on the B there on hiring Barr, and maybe he shouldn't have hired Barr.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it started to go wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, the company culture, could have been totally on the rocks ever since then, and there could be an issue of Barr just not being satisfied with maybe not having as much control as he wanted, and trying to control Cosman too much, and because Cosman's like, hey, look, bro, there could be all sorts of other angles that are going on here, because Barr is just not fitting well. You got to figure not just upsetting Cosman by hiring Barr, but maybe Barr is just not a good fit organizationally. just with the company, they aren't satisfied. So there could be a lot of issues playing in there that that they have to consider.
Right. And I mean, there's something they do say is that Barr isn't as familiar with the industry. So maybe he doesn't understand it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I found Cosman on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I found him too.
Very cool. Huh?
Yeah, it is the guy. He passed away in just July of last year. Right up the road for me.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He wanted to help baptize people.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like we pretty much covered question 11. How could Doug have avoided getting into this situation? Maybe we didn't talk about that too much. I don't know what thoughts you guys have around those last two questions. Do you want to change your minds about the buyout now? It doesn't really change anything for me. I think it's just like you said, Scott, there's so little information that we're getting for part C that it's hard to make a real determination there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any last thoughts?
On that one, I would just call him out, right? Like if I was you, I would just say, hey, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming. I don't like to assume, but hypothetically, there's a relationship between Cosman and Shields that has been like for a long time, and this new guy, right? But still doesn't. Where do you put your trust, right? Where are your friends? Where are you? It has to do also. I feel like it has to do with who you are in terms of like your connections, and it's just your persona, like who you are and
Yeah.
who you stay true with. So Shields respects Cosman, and they both have respect for each other. And I was just calling him out on on that and probably fire him.
Yeah.
But to avoid that, they will have to, Cosman and she will have to discuss terms for next hiring if that happens.
Yeah, you know what I didn't think about too is what's kind of interesting is a lot of this probably could have been avoided if they were all in the same office, but because Cosman didn't want to have Barr in the but they're the ones that are sharing an office while what's his bucket Shields is all the way in San Francisco. Maybe if Shields were there and they were all working together, or if Shields and Barr were in the same office, it probably wouldn't be an issue. But there could be some clashing that's going on because Barr and Cosman are in the same issue, and Cosman didn't want Barr. And so a lot of that could have potentially been avoided as well. So it's just kind of interesting to see how all this is kind of just played out that way. But yeah, kind of an interesting twist that finished there.
Brian told me the other day that he couldn't give.
I wouldn't change my mind about the buyout. I still think he should not have sold and should still have gone this way.
Or he probably did make more money, even if he ends up getting fired or whatever it is financially.
Right.
It sounds like if they sold for $100 million, that's significantly more than $4 million.
Right.
So,
Right.
well, and even if he only has, for 60%.
Yeah.
Shields today is still the chief strategy officer on AppNexus.
Yeah. All right. Well, any last thoughts, everybody?
I can't blame him.
I think we're good.
All righty. We'll plan on catching you guys, Tuesday night? We still want to shoot for Tuesday?
Yep, that works for me.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Catch you guys Tuesday at 9.
All right. See ya.
Thanks.
See you guys.